Creating custom patches for Ghost Recon Breakpoint is easier than you might think, and because we'll be using the free and open source Photoshop alternative GIMP to create our textures, it won't cost you a thing. If you don't already have GIMP, search online for GNU Image Manipulation Program to quickly find their official website. You'll also need the AnvilToolkit. I'll be showing you how to find and replace patches using the toolkit, but I'm going to assume you already have the toolkit installed properly or are capable of doing that on your own. Alright, let's get started then. First, launch GIMP. Hit File, New, and set the image size. For patches, I've found 600 typically works well. If you choose to use different values, that's fine, but be sure you use the same number for both width and height. Next, put your cursor over the layer, right-click, and add an alpha channel. I'm going to switch back to the Move tool, press Delete, and now you have a transparent background. You don't need to do this next part, but I like to set up guidelines so I know where the center of the image is. Next, select the image you want to use. Save it. Copy it to the clipboard. And paste it into the layering GIMP. Center the image. Select the scale tool from the toolbox. Make sure they keep aspect and around center boxes are ticked, and scale the image down. In the bottom right, click the green anchor. Next, we'll add a border to the image. There are a few ways this can be accomplished. We could copy and paste our patch. I'll do that by selecting the fuzzy select tool, increasing the threshold, selecting the image, Control-C to copy the image, and then Control-V to paste it. Now we'll select the scale tool, click the image, scale it up. We can either hold Shift or untick the Keep Aspect box and reduce the width so it looks more proportionate. Hit Scale. Now with our pasted layer selected, we'll select the Bucket Fill tool. And we could choose a color here, or we can choose to use a pattern fill. I'm going to use a pattern for this one. Click the image to fill it, drag the background layer to the top, and now we have a border around our image. Now we're ready to make our image look more like an embroidered patch. We'll use the fuzzy select tool to select the parts of our image we want to change. I'm going to do the pink and purple first. Hold Shift to select additional parts of the image. Alright. I've found that leaving a solid border 2 pixels in length or width around the modified selections helps prevent artifacting when the patch is put into the game. So to accomplish this, we'll hit Select, Shrink, and enter a value of 2. And now we're ready to apply our filter. Click Filters, Artistic, Clothifier. You can always undo this filter, so play around with the settings until you're satisfied with the effect it has on the image you've chosen.
You could also just manually add the border if you wanted to.
I'm not going to be making any changes to the pink or yellow in the center. It's just too small. You won't be able to notice it in game. Okay, now save the image. Alright, come back up here again. Export as. Should already be named. Export. And your patch should be on the desktop. Okay, now we're going to make a copy. We're going to get rid of the dash copy and replace it with underscore normal. Now we'll right click on the copy. Open with GIMP. Up to filters. Go down to generic. Normal map. We'll go ahead and use Lucky 13 for this one. Hit OK. File. Overwrite. Now don't be like me and forget this step. Go back into GIMP. Go over to the toolbox. Shift F will get you to the flip tool. Tick the box that says vertical. And flip this image. Overwrite. Now do the exact same thing to the other image, and you're ready to add your patch into Ghost Recon Breakpoint. Alright, let's say you're not creating your own patch. You're not pulling an image that doesn't look like a patch off the internet and modifying it with filters to look like one. Let's say you have an image already, but that image has a background and maybe it even has shadows on it. We can create an image with just the patch and a transparent background very easily. Grab the fuzzy select tool from the toolbox. Click on the background of the image. If it doesn't outline the entire patch, that's okay. Hit Ctrl Z to undo the selection. Then modify the threshold and try again. Keep changing the threshold until it selects the outline of the patch. If the outline includes the shadows, that's okay. We don't need to select it all in one click. Zoom into the areas where there's still shadows. Modify the threshold again. Hold Control and click on the shadowed area. If it moves the selection to the border of the patch, then you've succeeded. Now move around the patch and keep clicking on shadows until there are none left. Now simply delete the background. And you're done. Now you can just create your normal map, and remember to flip both images before putting them in the game's files. Alright, now let's add our patch to the game. Go ahead and launch the AnvilToolkit. Move the console out of the way. Select Ghost Recon Breakpoint. Scroll down to data PC resources.forge and open that file. If it's your first time opening it, it's going to create a backup. It's going to take a while because it's a large file, and you're going to need about 25 gigabytes worth of space on your computer. Once you're inside the file, we're going to search for the flag we want to replace. In our case, we're going to be replacing Sweden flag number 1. It's easy to identify the appropriate diffuse and normal maps and their associated mip maps, but choosing the proper icon map isn't so clear. Typically, the CP patch is associated with the first variant, and the UI_com is associated with the second variant. We're going to select the 5 files we need, right-click, and hit Unpack. Next, we'll navigate to the extracted folder within their data PC resources.forge. And we'll search for the flag of Sweden again. we'll start with the easiest one and replace the icon. Simply double-click on the folder, then double-click on the file, then select your image from the desktop and drag it in. In the top left, you'll see why we dragged the console away. You'll select best quality, make sure the box to generate MIPS is ticked, and hit OK. Once your image loads in, make sure it's the correct way, upside down. Then select the wrench on the left side, hit Remove Compiled MIP Dependencies, and save the image. Navigate back to the extracted folder, search for Sweden again, and we're ready to replace the diffuse map. Before you open the folder with the diffuse map, take note of the numbers before the associated MIP map. Open the folder, open the file, and you'll be met with this. If you hit cancel, it won't open the file for you. It'll say fail to load textures in the console. Open it again, click extracted, look for the numbers I told you to look for, open that folder, select that compiled MIP dependency. Now just repeat the steps you did when you replaced the icon map. And repeat the whole process one last time for the normal map. Next, navigate back to the extracted folder and search for flag_Sweden one last time. Highlight all 5 of the folders, right-click, and hit Repack. In the console, it should say Successful 5 and Failed 0. Now you're ready to repack the Data Resources Forge folder. Hit the up arrow, hit the up arrow again, right-click on data_pc_resources.forge, and hit Repack. It's going to take a while. When it's done repacking, the console will tell you it's done, and you're ready to launch the game. And if the game launches, you've done everything right, and you should be able to find your patch in-game. You will likely have to go back into GIMP and tweak the file a little bit. It might not look exactly as you imagined. In my case, the border I selected was too dark for the patch, so I went back in, lightened it up, and now it looks much better in-game. When you change the colors of the image, so long as you're not making drastic modifications or changing the size of the image, you don't need to replace the normal map. You also won't need to unpack the files for the map again. Just simply navigate back to the extracted folder, replace the icon and diffuse map with a new image, and repack the folder. When you open the diffuse map, you won't even be greeted with the window to select the compiled MIP dependencies again, because you removed them the first time you saved the image. And that's all there is to it.